Well, Dimitri, are you finally going to tell us the damn truth?
What are you talking about?
Didn't Lord Arundel say something about you and Edelgard being family?
Oh, right, that. Can't believe you guys didn't figure it out in advance.
To claim that the king and the emperor are related. Could it be?
Ah, I suppose I never told you, though I do recall mentioning it briefly to the professor.
Violet's like, yep, I should have told them by now. Whoops.
Lord Arundel spoke the truth. My stepmother was Edelgard's birth mother. Political turmoil drove my stepmother out of the Empire. Father fell in love with her at first sight, and they married.
It's kind of interesting because according to Edelgard's Goddess Tower conversation, she fell in love with Edelgard's father at first sight, except he also had, not only was already in a political marriage, but also had tons of concubines, so whoops.
I lost my birth mother before I was old enough to remember her. My stepmother filled that role for me, but she lost her life in Duscur 9 years ago, along with father.
Hang on. I didn't even know she was your stepmother. Did my father know about this?
Yes, all those who were close to my father knew, including Rodrigue. But to speak openly about it would have caused a scandal. And so she was our secret. No one in the general public knew about her. Naturally, the fact that Edelgard and I are step-siblings was kept a secret as well.
Because then all the fiction writers among the general public of Fargus, who saw them together all the time and shipped them, would be very, very annoyed.
I'm finally beginning to understand what you went through 5 years ago. I mean, Edelgard is the only family you have left, isn't she?
You know, I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. I mean, finding out the only family you have left in the world... Yep, has declared war at everyone, and was the Flame Emperor and kind of slaughtered a lot of people. Yeah.
To find out someone so precious to you is actually your most hated enemy. How hard.
Something that I've only just realized, and I can't believe I didn't think about this before, though, is she still kept Dimitri's dagger that whole time. So clearly she still has some compassion for him left.
But wait, you two were born and raised in 2 different territories, right? So you probably never met until you were both at the academy.
Nope, there was that young Dimitri and Edelgard scene earlier.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the idea of fighting family is just about the worst thing ever.
Funny you should say that, because there's apparently unused boss... Also, actually funny you should say that, because you can fight your uncle. But, yeah, there's unused, like, boss conversations for Annette and Felix for the Blue Lions route, which implies that at one point, there may have been some story branching that got cut, and it would have been possible for those two to leave you.
But hopefully the fact that she's a stepsister who you never really knew helps with the pain? I don't know. It was just a thought.
Annette! Wow. Because, yeah, they knew each other.
I am afraid that's not the case. Though it was only for a short time, Edelgard once called Ferdiad home.
And not only did they know each other, but Edelgard, in her Goddess Tower scene, says that her first love was a noble she met in the kingdom, and she can't say his name. It's pretty likely it was Dimitri.
It was a long time ago, but she was a cherished friend of mine.
Wait, I remember now. She was that girl, wasn't she? The one you gave a dagger to.
Yep, that detail you mentioned in that support conversation all the way back, actually a major plot point.
So, your little girlfriend was Edelgard.
Sylvain, if you have any more foolish things to say, please hold them for later.
Oh no, I have nothing more to say, except that my giant stack of you and Edelgard shipping fanfiction has been vindicated.
I do have a few more in my sleeve, but they can wait. Go on, Your Highness. This is important for us to hear.
She may be a hated enemy now, but the Emperor is your old friend and your stepsister. Can you bring yourself to kill her?
I will kill her, if I must. But if there is any chance that the world she seeks to create could be a just one, then I would love to see a future in which I may reach out my hand for her and have her reach back.
Okay, I'm being hit with feels at that line. But, I also thought of the main theme, you know, reach for my hand.
That said, I have no intention of letting my personal feelings cloud my judgment. Too much is at stake.
Your Highness, I think you should meet with the Emperor and at least try to talk to her. If there's any hope of ending this war without more bloodshed, we have to try. Besides, killing your own family, I'm sorry, but it's not right.
Not so subtle jab at players who have Ash kill Leonardo. I know a few.
I think so too. And you are right that we should at least try.
We did manage to get on with Claude in the
I
end.
see. So my uncle's defeat is beyond doubt?
Yes, Your Majesty. I have confirmed it via countless channels. I advise that we accept this as a drop of joy amid a pool of sorrow.
Yeah, she did not like him.
Pretty words, but I'm afraid we can't rest until the joy outweighs the sorrow. And for that to happen, it now seems we must confront them all at once.
Well, you can't confront Claude anymore because he's just got the heck out of here.
Dimitri, who took back Ferdiad. Claude, who managed to protect the Alliance.
Nope, again, Claude's just gone.
And that professor, who is successfully mobilizing the Knights of Seros.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone against Edelgard right now.
What will you do, Your Majesty?
Pull back our forces. In the west to Orion Road. In the east to...
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I'm just thinking for a second here when it's like, about that, Lady Edelgard. Please don't get angry when I say this, but, Orion Road is, I may have failed miserably there, and Orion Road is no longer ours.
Fort Mercius, I presume. There is no better place for such a confrontation, after all.
Indeed. And dispatch the Death Knight to guard it.
Oh.
He can buy us some time.
I thought we'd be encountering him sooner or later.
In the meantime, I will...
Talk to Dimitri and have a peaceful armistice? Yes, do that, please.
Forgive me, but I must speak bluntly. I do not agree with what you intend to do. Though slight, there is a chance that once done, it cannot be undone.
Even I cannot always choose the direction my path leads me. There is no other way. And so, I must walk on.
She's not gonna unleash some kind of apocalyptic spell or something, is she? Like with Rhea? That worries me a bit. But anyway, with that, the saga of Blilda sadly comes to an end. And so, I leave you. Next time, we will probably be fighting the Death Knight, maybe for the final time, so I'll see you all then. Welcome back to more Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and last time, Blilda. Blilda existed, and then the world exploded. Blilda, okay, right now, the only person on this continent who could beat Blilda in a fight is the Gatekeeper. And even then, it would be a very close battle that would be fought over 100 years, with neither side giving an inch until the very end. Blilda, if she teamed up with Yarn, would cause everything in existence to go extinct. And Blilda, in my headcanon, left Fodlan along with Claude because this world could not handle her power. So yes, that is canon to my playthrough now. And now let's move on.
Part 2. Azure Moon. Blue Sea Moon. The Impregnable Fortress. When Claude steps down as its leader, the Leicester Alliance disbands, and its lords swear fealty to the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. The chaos in the kingdom begins to dissipate as the people unite under Dimitri's rule. Riding this momentum, the Kingdom Army prepares to march south for a decisive battle against Imperial forces.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm kind of wondering what happens. So, like, obviously on Edelgard's route, you would completely destroy the Alliance and take it over. And on Dimitri's route, Claude leaves and the Alliance, and he's like, oh yeah, Alliance, by the way, Dimitri owns you now. So, on Claude's route, like, what happens? Does, I don't know, like, yeah, does he leave it? I think there's like an ending where Lorenz takes over the Alliance in Claude's stead, so again, that was a sort of a slight spoiler that I may have seen, but it's not for this route, so yeah. And I probably won't play the Golden Deer route blind on camera anyway. So yeah, I'm wondering what happens then. Like, is Claude's route the only one where the Alliance still exists as a country by the end of the game? Anyway, Heightens concentration, maybe?
Hey, Professor. Got something interesting to share? Thanks.
I wear full armor to tea time. You never know when enemies will be hiding. Of course, full armor will not save you from Blilder.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, well, this is kind of obvious.
Yeah. Whoa. What is justice, really? I'm not so sure I know anymore.
You should talk to Arthur about that. Oh. I was thinking, like, commend would be a bit weird. It's like, I commend you for not knowing what justice is and having no idea what justice is anymore.
Thanks for this, Professor. Don't you want to get some exercise, though? Come on, let's go train.
But this is training for charm. So, story cutscene, I'm guessing?
We will finally have our decisive battle with the Empire this month.
The Eastern Lords are in the process of consolidating all of the troops within the entire kingdom. In addition, ever since Aryan Road's liberation, the Western Lords have been declaring their fealty, one after another.
Okay, so I'm guessing that line changes if you haven't done that paralogue. Does the story at all branch if you haven't done that paralogue? I'm guessing it doesn't, but it would be interesting if it did.
Affairs within the kingdom have calmed down considerably, and we even managed to win over the Alliance.
And all the named characters in the Alliance are currently still alive, oh. Ah, right, so that thing that I was actually going to say that I haven't got to yet, I've probably attached like an addendum to an earlier part of my commentary about this, but apparently Marianne doesn't appear at all post-time skip if you didn't recruit her. And considering some things that are revealed in supports with her, it's apparently implied that Marianne commits suicide if you didn't recruit her during the time skip, which is... yeah, so I guess me just barely failing to recruit her was... let's not get into that.
Although it was a rough go at first, I'm starting to feel like we could actually win this.
That's true. Thinking back on it now, we've really come a long way.
My head is Mike Wazowski-ing Sylvain.
We even have a lead as to where Rhea is located. It is as we predicted all along. If we are to rescue Rhea, then we must defeat the Emperor.
If we're going to march from the monastery to Inbar, then we'll have to cross the Great Bridge of Murden again, right?
Which means we're gonna have to pass by where Lawrence died, no.
Yes, I believe so. As we have gained the Alliance's support, we should not have any trouble this time.
More like the one person from the Alliance who could have given us trouble is dead now.
After the bridge, we can cross Gronder Field and head south.
Please tell me there's not going to be a third Gronder Field battle.
And then we'll take Mercius, the so-called impregnable fortress that towers on the other side.
Fort Mercius, I know of it. They say it rivals even Aryan Road.
Count Burgleys, the Empire's Minister of Military Affairs, once had troops stationed there. But according to our spies, a large-scale military force has entered the stronghold. Perhaps they are gathering soldiers from various regions to compensate for their losses.
It is unlike you to worry so. But I feel we have no choice but to strip that place of its impregnable reputation. Once we take Fort Mercius, Enbar will be within reach. This is the Empire's last chance to stop us from arriving at our goal.
In other words, if we take this fort, then our blades will be at the Emperor's throat in no time.
Weren't we supposed to be avoiding that?
If this is the last fort between us and them, then the Emperor will likely do everything she can to strengthen its defenses.
I just received a report on that very subject. The one commanding the troops stationed at Fort Mercius is someone we have crossed blades with many times. It is the Death Knight who awaits us there.
Oh, so that's who we'll be battling. Emil.
I wonder if that dialogue is different if you've done the paralogue. Because I've heard that the Death Knight's identity isn't revealed unless you do very specific things, so I feel like maybe he'll get a special, like, unmasking scene if you've done that paralogue. Speaking of paralogues, there are no paralogues this month. Huh. Okay, then. If I do battle, what's the recommended level for this one? 39, yeah, I'm fine for that. Yeah, that's pretty deep within the Empire. Where's Enbar? Is that further down that side? I think it looks like it. Yeah, I think I can see the crest in the, No, that's not Enbar. Oh, there, is that, like, right at the end of that peninsula there? Anyway, we'll see later, but... Yeah, I feel like this isn't going to be a particularly eventful month, except a whole ton of supports. Ash and Cyril B.
Hey, Ash. Hey there, Cyril. Is something on your mind?
Well, I wanted to thank you for helping me.
Huh? When do you mean?
You know, when you helped me with cleaning up the library.
Oh, right, that. I'd almost forgotten about that.
Oh, right. That was quite a while ago. I'd completely forgotten about
And
it.
Ash stole my line.
No need to thank me, though. It was nothing. Do you need help with anything today? I've got some spare time. I really don't mind.
Well, I'd rather take care of the stuff I've been asked to do on my own.
I could give you a hand, though, couldn't I?
Yeah, you could, but I sure would rather you didn't. Me doing those jobs is why I get to stay here, even though I'm an Almiran.
Oh, so it's a status thing. I can understand that. I can get pretty awkward if I ever have to ask a favor from a noble.
Exactly. That's why I don't want anybody's help.
Isn't Ash technically a noble by adoption, though?
You don't need to feel that way around me, though. I'm just a commoner. I'm only in here thanks to a bit of luck. So really, I'm just the same as you.
I don't know if that's exactly true, but maybe.
Either way, birth and social status don't really matter for us, do they? After all, we're friends, right?
Friends?
Yeah, and when a friend needs you, you've got to help, don't you?
I don't know. I guess I've never been anybody's friend before.
You've supported so many people, and I'm pretty sure you're Hilda's friend now, so... yeah.
It's easy. If I'm in trouble, you help me out. And if you need something, I help you too.
Huh. Okay. But I've packed up for the day already, so maybe you could help me out next time?
Sure. Whenever you need a hand, just let me know.
Ash is my friend. And friends help each other out. Yeah, that sounds nice.
Friends. That just makes me think of Richard from Tales of Graces. Oh, okay. Hilda and Seteth, eh? As well as Catherine and Ingrid.
Good work. Should we call it a day?
Thank you. Yes, let's. Catherine, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you something.
Why did you kill my future husband's brother?
Let me guess. You're going to ask why you're so bad at predicting my attacks.
When I expect an attack from above, you surprise me from below. When I expect a jab, I get a sweep. You seem to anticipate my anticipation.
In other words, Catherine is a competitive fighting game player.
It's probably because you're a straightforward, honest person.
And that means you suck in combat.
You're reading my movements and trying to calculate what I'll do next.
That has always seemed the most sound strategy when engaging in combat, yes.
Right. Well, I take that anticipation and turn it against you. I use my eyes and the tilt of my sword to mislead you.
So, your average Pokemon battle, I guess.
Catching your opponent off guard is the trick to staying alive in combat. You've got to keep yourself alive if you want to protect Lady Rhea, right?
Your dedication to Lady Rhea's safety is truly inspiring, Catherine.
You flatter me.
My dream is to become a knight and protect my king, no matter the cost. There is no greater purpose I can serve. Although your fealty is sworn to Lady Rhea, you are the ideal knight I aspire to be.
Admire me to your heart's content, but I'm...
Catherine, I'd be honored if you would make me your squire.
My what now? Oh, you're far too straight-laced to be my squire.
Plus, if you eventually marry Ash, that would be very, very awkward.
However you might judge me, I'm quite serious about this.
All right then, why not? Let's start by teaching you how to flirt with handsome men.
And by that, I mean Ash, because yes, everyone in this monastery ships Catherine and Ash now.
Pardon me? That can't possibly be where you want to start.
Nah, I was just kidding. I wish I knew how to flirt with handsome men.
Doesn't she kind of do that when you recruit her, though?
Instead, let's teach you to lighten up.
Ah, understood.
And by that, I mean, I'm gonna make you lose tons of weight so you're a lot lighter. I mean that literally. Yeah, so it's just Seteth and, Seteth and Felix.
May I help you, Seteth?
Finally noticed me, I see. Good to see that you are so dedicated to your training.
Now, I would like to read you this fable that is definitely not about you that I was writing. There once was an angsty, brooding hedgehog.
Do you have need of my sword?
No, this is not a military matter. I would like to discuss the distance you seem to be keeping from the others.
Distance? I don't follow.
I have noticed that you like to keep others at arm's length. And in most cases, quite a bit further.
Oh well, he really is getting on his case for being an edgelord.
Keeping a close eye on me. They don't share my values, that's all.
Is that why you train alone? Because your friends do not share your values?
You seem displeased. I suppose you're going to tell me, to defeat your enemies, you must have dependable allies.
That's not exactly how I would phrase it. But having good relationships with your allies is essential in combat.
It gives you slight boosts in battle.
I am sure you realize that it is easier to bond with people when you interact with them more. There are limits to what one person can do alone. Great things cannot be achieved without allies.
You sound like my father. You're saying it's in my own interest to make friends?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the fate of the world does not rest on me making friends, and the last person who said that didn't end up turning around ironic and ending up literally true.
To put it simply, yes. As much as you possibly can. To be honest, I envy you, because I know what it is like to not have many people to call friends.
Because when I fall asleep, I sleep for 100 years and then all my friends die.
I wouldn't have guessed that. There are so many devout believers.
I am talking about friends. People to speak with on equal terms. You have many friends here. You should take care to attend to them.
I'll consider your advice, but I'm not usually one to change my mind.
To be young.
To be young and edgy. I wonder if Seteth once had a young, rebellious, edgy face. That would be kind of funny. Oh, okay, you still haven't got your second A with Gilbert. I'm wondering if we seem to be getting closer and closer to the end of the game, and I'm starting to think I should really double down on supports that I don't want to miss out on.
Hello, Hilda.
Oh, Seteth, good day.
Is it?
Did I do something wrong?
No, you didn't. I was just wondering why you will never be as good as your cousin Blilda. I know you probably heard that a lot growing up.
Not to my knowledge. But I cannot help but notice that you no longer shy away when I speak to you.
You noticed that, huh? When you stare at me, I feel like you're peering into my soul.
And that no longer bothers you? Does that mean your conscience is finally clear?
Also, there's the fact that peering into Blilda's soul would destroy your mind.
Nah, I got used to it. I know you're not scary.
That's unfortunate. You really should do something to correct your lazy behavior.
My portrait has its eyes closed, but my model does not reflect this.
Maybe that's true. I wouldn't want to be like the fox, forced to wander in the snow all winter.
I'm pleased to see you grasped the moral of the story.
Don't you think the squirrel was a little cold-hearted, though? He seems not to care about what happens to his friend, as long as he himself is happy.
You know, that is a valid point. I have no wish to encourage that attitude in children.
And that's why writing stories with morals is really hard, because you can accidentally imply things that you weren't intending to.
Perhaps if the fox only survives thanks to the squirrel kindly sharing some of his acorns.
So, like, then there's this, which, this you could also criticize and say that encourages people to be lazy and mooch off others.
How does that sound to you?
I like it okay. I'm sure that kids will admire that nice, compassionate squirrel.
Thank you for your insight. As it happens, I have some other stories that I wrote for Flayn. Would you like to hear them?
You should make a book out of them. It's a shame that only Flayn and I get to enjoy them.
What a fine idea. I will begin immediately, though I feel such a book requires illustrations, and I have no artistic talent. Would you lend me a hand?
I was thinking Ignatz could probably, I don't know.
Can probably manage. Not like they need to be terribly fancy.
I could use some more of your wisdom with regard to the content of the stories also.
That sounds like a pain, but I'm invested in this now. Let's do it!
Excellent! That's wonderful to hear. Let us produce the very best book we can, for the children's sake.
You look so excited. I can't help but lend a hand.
Yeah, so that's kind of the opposite of her attitude earlier. So this is why I like Hilda. Also, Hilda then got roped into being an illustrator for the hit children's series, Seteth Says. Memes for those of all ages. Okay then. This is slight problem. I guess we'll explore and talk to people. Almost forgot for a second that we have new dialogue.
We took quite the detour. It was time-consuming, but finally, we got the information we needed. We crush the Empire, we get Lady Rhea back. 2 birds, 1 stone. First, we take Fort Mercius. I'll put my heart in it. I'll crack him like a rusty helmet.
I'm sorry, but when I read that, I imagined Catherine literally taking her heart out of her chest and putting it in the fort. But, yeah, we found out what we need to find out. The fact that what we suspected, like, of where Lady Rhea was right all along.
We defeated Lord Arundel. The Emperor must have been surprised. If we can keep up that fervor, perhaps we'll capture Fort Mercius and move on to the Imperial capital. We must not be overconfident, though.
After all, my only rival in edgelordiness, Hubert, and of course the Death Knight, are over there.
Yes, I concur. Humans and beasts are ultimately the same. When they're cornered, they lash out however they can. They fight for their lives. Who knows how the Emperor will lash out? We have to be careful.
Yeah, let's just hope she isn't going to unleash some kind of ancient weapon of mass destruction or something. You know, that whole what is done cannot be undone thing. That worries me a little bit. Oh, is a Falcon Knight in this tournament? That's kind of scary. Guess I'll try Catherine. Oh, really?
Fighting is what I do.
Oh, I still double the Falcon Knight, though. Come on, hit this one. Good.
All for Lady Rhea.
Was that a female Mortal Savon? It is. That's cool. Oh wow, I just barely win.
All for Lady Rhea.
Nice one, Catherine. We have won a Master Seal, which I would use to turn Manuela into a Mortal Savon, except she doesn't have enough ranks to do that yet. No one's in the cathedral.
So Lady Rhea was in the Empire all this time. Wish I'd known that 5 years ago. But there's nothing we can do about it now. What we can do, though, is topple the Empire. Will you seize victory with us, Professor? For the sake of the late Captain.
And for the sake of Belildar.
Hello.
I've come here after getting chased out of the Empire. There's no place for our kind there anymore. But there are still many inside Empire territory who haven't abandoned their faith in the Church of Seiros. I pray that one day we'll get the chance to rebuild the church within the Empire.
The Archbishop has been taken to the Empire, just as we thought. But why hasn't Edelgard killed her yet? If she intended to use her as a hostage, she'd have publicly announced that she was unharmed. We don't know what the Emperor's intentions are. All we can do is fight on and pray the Archbishop is okay.
Yeah, I have a feeling that she's kind of siphoning some kind of energy from her or something.
Doesn't matter how sturdy to keep. If the commander defending it is incompetent, it can fall as easy as anything. That's what they say, at least. I wonder if that applies to Fort Mercius. All I know is, if I was the Emperor, I'd never in a million years assign an incompetent commander to a fort as important as that one.
Well, that's what every Fire Emblem Emperor does, because every enemy commander is incompetent compared to the player characters, usually.
Definitely. I traveled to Kingdom territory because I was nearby. I did some good business.
Thankfully, they got rid of all of those prototype Figmas for Cornelia.
Apparently, supplies are needed to reconstruct the Kingdom capital and the surrounding towns. I wonder where I should go next.
Yes, supplies like Verona's.
The Alliance dissolved so suddenly. Now there's widespread pandemonium. The lords are warring, mass confusion among the citizens.
Or that's what I expected to happen. None of that seems to be taking place. They had a roundtable meeting and talked it out. Everyone's dealing very calmly with the situation. I guess if Dimitri turns out to be a crazed despot, then there really will be chaos. But he's not gonna go crazy again. He's okay now, right?
Yeah, hopefully. It's funny how Hilda kind of echoes what the players are thinking quite a lot.
Professor? You know, Professor, laying siege to a keep is like asking a girl out on a date.
Okay, I'm listening. Go on.
First, you get past her defenses, then you make your move.
And then you get shot by a ton of ballistas. Oh, wait, no.
Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a seasoned veteran at this kind of thing.
I have the ballista scars to prove it.
Girls, I mean. I've never actually, captured any keeps. Anyway, I figure you go after the main gate. You take that out, and I'm sure we can win. Of course, you're making the tactical calls. I'm happier to follow than to lead.
I feel like there was an innuendo in there somewhere with that main gate thing, but I'll not say that.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report.
Is it true that we'll be assaulting Fort Mercius next? That doesn't sound like the brightest idea. I've heard that it's built to withstand an attack from even the largest of armies.
But it wouldn't be able to withstand an attack from you, as the only one who is your equal in strength for this entire continent is Blilda.
And not to tell you how to do your job, but don't do it. I'm not ready to say my final goodbyes to everyone.
Look, honestly, I'm not ready to say my final goodbyes to this game, and I feel like we are getting close to the end. At least of this route.
Let's see. Is it true Lady Rhea was taken to the Empire? Why'd they take Lady Rhea? Professor, they didn't take her to kill her, did they? Yeah, good point. If they did, we'd have heard about it by now. You gotta help her, Professor. I'm begging you.
Well, I mean, if they had tried to kill her, she would have turned into a giant dragon, exploded the entire castle, and then, yeah, we would obviously know about that.
We're finally going to attack the Empire? I'm actually getting a little nervous. Please defeat the Emperor and save Lady Rhea.
I'll be waiting here with all of the necessary preparations for a huge celebration.
I just realized, the sheer amount of, dialogue they'd have to have in the monastery for all the different routes, it's just insane. Because, at this point, well, I think at this point Edelgard's route's already over, but, will people be talking about, going to fight Dimitri and, Rhea?
Attacking an impregnable fortress head-on is rather impressive. Or suicidal. Depends on the day, really. You know Fort Mercius' nickname, I assume. The stubborn old general?
I wonder if he's the bitter ex-boyfriend of the Silver Maiden.
It may be stubborn, but its age means it's gotta be hiding a few weak spots. Makes sense to aim for those areas.
Do we have some kind of detonation device like the Urukai at Helm's Deep? Anyway, I actually get this feeling that Linhardt and Caspar would have been mandatory boss fights in this upcoming chapter, so I think I may have just saved their lives by recruiting them. Please, Veronas. Are you serious? What do I have to do to get Veronas around here?
Oh, Professor, good timing. You have to talk some sense into my father. Recently, he's been doing nothing but work himself to the bone. Even when he's taking breaks from training and errands, he's apparently listening to reports, day in and day out.
That random monk over there is like... I'm just gonna listen to them. No, actually, no, let's not do that. I get in trouble. I'm going away now.
He's getting on in years, I just want him to take care of himself.
Well, you kind of aren't much better than him, just saying. Not in the years department, I mean in the, overworking yourself department. Oh, I miss Bernadetta being in her room here. Sadly, we do not get to recruit her on this route, but at least she's not dead.
Professor. Fort Mercius is next, huh? Ah, the memories. It's a huge stronghold in my father's domain. The town's completely surrounded by high walls. I used to run around there when I was a kid. Way back when a fortress was just a playground for me. Yeah, those were the days.
I wonder if we'll be running into your cousin Gaspar over there.
Weren't the Kingdom and Alliance once part of the same country? If you think about it that way, it makes sense for them to unite.
But then again, if you apply that logic, it quote-unquote makes sense for the Empire to conquer both of them, so, I don't know.
I suppose the Kingdom was once part of the Empire as well.
Yeah.
Even if Fodlan came together, I wouldn't be surprised if it fell apart again.
It wasn't exactly fallen apart before. the three nations were in harmony for a really long time.
Have you heard of the Crescent Moon War? That's when the Alliance won their independence from the kingdom.
It doesn't get its own mock battle celebration at Garrick Mock because Claude gets shafted.
Some 300 years ago, the ruling Duke of Leicester died without an heir, and the lords with blood ties to House Blythe took that chance to propose ruling the Leicester territory as a republic. The head of House Regan led the Leicester lords and fought fiercely with Farkas. They won independence from the kingdom. And now, here we are.
And now here we are. Leicester is Fargus again, and Claude is gone.
The Alliance has really been disbanded? I never thought such a thing could happen. As long as it doesn't negatively impact our lives, I don't care much whether we're the Kingdom or the Alliance.
With the Empire destroyed, the borders within Fodlan will likely become a thing of the past. With that, the rules of trade will change. Personally, I'm excited to see what these changes will bring.
Hopefully no more monsters attacking trade routes. Shipping. Anyway.
Just as we suspected, Lady Rhea was taken to the Imperial capital. We must get to the capital as quickly as possible. So many people are worried sick about her.
Why is everyone worried she can turn into a dragon?
I do wonder when Claude managed to learn Lady Rhea's whereabouts. He's pretty shrewd. I can't help but admire him.
He probably sent Blilda to infiltrate the place, and Blilda is so good at everything that she can be so stealthy that she can vanish from time and space.
I wonder where Claude will go. From the sound of it, he's leaving Fodlan altogether.
There's probably some kind of obscure fanfic of like Claude and Ike just bumping into each other when they were out on their travels.
He was strangely gallant about the whole thing. He even left his relic behind.
Which I can't use without turning into a monster, dang it.
Elusive and mysterious to the end, isn't he?
Speaking of which... yeah, it looks like Hilda can use it.
Death Knight. Going to fight the Death Knight. To be perfectly honest, I am.
Incredible. The Leicester Alliance is no more. 300 years of history. Gone and done.
Well, it would have been gone even more brutally if Edelgard had her way.
They write operas about events like this, you know? Dimitri will be played by the most handsome actor of the time. Hearts will pound as he takes the stage.
Yes, hearts will pound as he screams, "Kill every last one of them," while drenched in stage blood.
What am I saying? Surely the most handsome man would play you.
Sorry, Violet's kind of taken right now. Although, admittedly, yes, that's kind of true, because Violet's like, what's Violet's charm right now? Yep, 44.
Even in the kingdom, only a few people knew about His Highness and Edelgard's relationship.
But those few were very adamant about writing fanfics about it.
Me? I always knew those two to be like brother and sister. To think that we would come to see this world, where they are at war with one another. I live it, and can still barely imagine such a truth.
Well, you should check out Fates, even more ridiculous sibling warfare there.
Yeah. So, we're finally invading Empire territory, huh? There's not much we can do right now, except pray for deliverance.
And suddenly, Alm teleports out of nowhere.
I truly believe that we have it in us to succeed.
So, actually, that's a good time to mention that the whole deliverance thing is pretty much entirely a kind of localization embellishment. In Japanese, Alm's army was just called the Liberation Army.
The Death Knight. I shudder to think of him. Professor, you remember my connection to him, do you not?
Yeah, he kidnapped you.
I am still working through the trauma from back then. All these years later.
But did he, considering we now know that Edelgard doesn't like the Slitherers, I'll call them, did he kidnap her to keep her away from Tomas?
If we meet him, I swear I will have my revenge.
Well, there's a lot of people who want to fight the Death Knight right now. Her, Manuela, and possibly, all of them are like white mages. Just realized, her, Manuela, and Mercedes.
Fort Mercius is a keep that was constructed to defend the imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, The city should be almost entirely at our mercy. Now that we know Rhea is there, we must move with the utmost urgency.
Each step closer to Enbar, I'm reminded of another part of my past. Riches and poverty, glory and failure. That city has it all. And if I'm honest, sometimes I miss it. That's how the past works, though, isn't it? It's always a different story than what you really lived.
Maybe you and Dorothea can go back there someday and sing opera again. Come to think of it, it would be sort of poetic, but also probably tragic if Dorothea was like playing Edelgard in the opera that gets written about all this.
Fort Mercius is the Empire's single most fortified military installation. Utterly impregnable, they say. I wonder, do you happen to know the nickname given to Fort Mercius? Indeed, a very good answer. But of course, you'd know that.
Well, I only do because someone else told me earlier.
Seems Fodlans give everyone and everything a nickname. Why, you were called the Ashen Demon.
You'd only know that if you got his sea support with Hanneman.
Myself, I have been called the Father of Crestology, which is a nickname as well as a title, I suppose.
And now one day, I'm going to have to name one of my children Crestology just for the irony.
Claude has stepped down from leadership, and Leicester is now a vassal state of Fargus. The lords of the Western Kingdom are beginning to declare fealty to us in greater numbers also. The Empire is our only remaining enemy.
That is, unless Almyra, Dagda, and Bridget decide to invade again.
From this point onward, we're in all-out war with the Empire. Are you prepared, Professor?
And we weren't before?
I have already steeled myself as best I can. First, we capture Fort Mercius. The fighting will undoubtedly be brutal, but we must prevail. As far as this army and I are concerned, you're our last ray of hope. We are relying on you.
Oh, one of the few people that I can get an advanced drill and authority with, may as well take it. Okay, so that ends that day. There's really not much to do this week apart from the monster battles. No need to put you two on group tasks anymore. Okay, supports that I want to get. Well, if you're both good at that. Because I kind of want them to get to an A. Although, wait, if I do that, I might not be able to get his paired in with Flayn. Actually, I retract that and replace it with... Seteth and Flayn. They definitely need to get to an A before the end of the game.
I've got something I want to ask you.
It's a teacher gang attack!
It seems like you just...
And Shamia's face palming in the background.
I am with you.
No need to worry.
Must you...
Most...
Thank you.
All the more reason to train.
War is ineffective.
Growth sustains me.
Of course.
I understand more.
I've learned a thing or two from battle.
St. Sethlene Day! I wonder if Flayn will be here.
I've never sung a
singing.
Cyril kind of has amnesia and keeps forgetting that he's sung before.
Yeah.
And today is also annual Seteth Murders Us Day. Tea of the Saints. I wonder if she would like that, since she's totally not a saint herself.
I'm ever so grateful.
I think that's not her favorite tea, because she would have said a unique line if it was. Yeah, monastery rules would probably remind her too much of Seteth.
I was born in Enbar. though I have lived in remote lands far away at times.
Okay, that's interesting. Praise! It was such a good thing that you were born in Embar. Oh!
That tea was very delicious. Please take care, Professor.
I wanted to hear what her face-looking quotes were like. Of course, then, you know, Byleth would have died because of Seteth. Okay, so question, do we have any supports? Yes, we actually do have Seteth and Flayn's A. But also, one thing that I also want to try and do is... Can Manuela become a, She can try and be a mortal savant. The Mortal Savant exam. As a samurai, you feel compelled to cast fire spells on enemies immune to fire and rob your team of press turns. Maybe it's a good thing she failed that exam. Well, I could try and make Dorothea a Gremory. Annette already has that. Yeah, she already has that class. Oh, Hilda can attempt Wyvern Lord now, with barely any pass rates. But she can at least attempt it. Avoid plus 10 on top of everything else. Okay. That's a really, really low chance, but... I'm gonna go for it. I believe in Hilda. You can do it. You can pass my lowest pass rate exam yet. I mean, or she could just be a Wyvern Rider. Which, ironically, will still give her pretty much better stats than Great Knight. Okay, then. Come on, Hilda, you can do this. The Wyvern Law exam, you look up to our Lord and Savior. Ha, come on, Hilda, please, please, please. Yes! Yes! Hilda is amazing.
Ah, shucks. I guess I did it.
Hilda is so amazing. Do I want to change now? I think I'll see what the next map looks like before I change. Why not? Let's change now. Oh, right. That's a problem. That is, like, honestly, the main weakness I find of flying classes is you lose access to most of the best battalions. Like, Seteth, okay, like, this is a major problem for Seteth. So, Seteth is one of my few people with an A in authority, but he needs to switch to an on-foot class if he is going to equip the Dancer battalion. Speaking of Seteth, I may as well do his A with Flayn.
Flayn.
Here to pester me, brother?
No, I think I'm the one who ought to be pestered.
Regardless of what I say to you, it is not as though it has any effect in reducing your worry over me.
That is true. No matter where you are, and no matter what you're doing, I will always worry. But that's only because I treasure you so very much. Please understand, I'm not trying to hurt you.
Of that I am well aware. I am touched that you care so deeply. When I think of it, it is my own fault that you have become so overprotective. I cannot blame you.
No, the fault is entirely mine. You were still so young. I placed far too much strain on you, and our lack of resources was no excuse. Worse, I failed to watch you during the battle. Your mother, too. We lost her because of me. Afterward, it broke my heart to see how much you would need to rest just to survive. I swore that I would dedicate every moment remaining in my life to your protection.
Ever since then, I have been afraid of falling asleep. My fear of sleeping is outmatched only by my fear of spending my life alone. Even if it cannot last, I want to live among my peers as one of them, as an ordinary person, similar to how you and Mother coexisted with your own comrades back then, fighting side by side.
Why do I get the feeling this is setting up future DLC?
Quite right. I know you must leave the nest someday. No matter how many ages our lives may span, I know that's the way of it.
Father.
Don't.
Nobody is listening, Father. Let me address you as such just this once.
Finally they do that.
I have valued the quiet days you and I have spent alone together. But I am no longer a child. Just as you and Mother met one another, and eventually I was brought into the world, I
know. Please, no more. No matter what happens, you are my daughter. It gives me great joy to see you grow. But please, at least until this war is over, let me continue to worry. You're the most precious person in my life. I can't bear the thought of losing you.
It seems I have no choice in the matter. I shall allow you to worry about me enough for yourself and Mother both. But only that much and no more, my dear Father Keyhole.
Aha! Well, that confirms it. It was pretty obvious, though. I'd already figured it out long before now.
Thank you, Seteth.
Yep. Finally that revelation drops. Again, it's very, very obvious, especially if you get Linhardt and Flayn C early on Black Eagles, but yep. Finally, it's confirmed. And also pretty obvious that Flayn maybe actually is a full dragon.